This
Do all,
conference will now be recorded.
I'm just going to restart recording that way when I'm listening.
okay. In some ways I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm at home. I can work on all the projects that I have like put to the side over the course of time, or things that I haven't been able to get done, and also have a chance to kind of like slow down and actually look at some things that I want to look into more deeply. But at the same time, you miss being around a team, you miss being around the people, and that community aspect that sports gives you.
Yeah, totally. And those that are getting on and that are going to listen to this, hopefully after we get to send Monica this, and this is basically a virtual brain trust I came up with last week, because I figured out, like, there's so many of us that are sitting home right now that have so much to give, and a passion that we drive, and that people look up to us, and like the amount of depression that I see going on right now, the amount of uncertainty. Like, I literally just got off of a Drudge Report. I'm looking at all the news things, and domestic violence has gone up, child abuse has gone up, you've got hotlines up, you've got people literally just kind of going inward right now. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted to bring you on. Like, you always hear about the women's USA softball team, and I've had a really amazing career being able to work with a lot of amateur to professional athletes. And when we had your team come into TPI a few weeks ago, it literally, like, it gave me energy back. And
I love that.
Every single one of you ladies was just, I don't even know how to put it into words. I don't think there is a word that we can do. And how excited to see the energy for representing the USA, representing softball, but then each individual lady on who they are. And like, you as a leader on that team is absolutely amazing. Looking at like your stories right now and keeping people motivated. Mental health was the big thing that popped in my head for you as a leader within just, women's health, let's just say athletes overall, and then within USA softball. So fill me in kind of like where you're at right now, and then we can move forward from there.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me, and just for, I think anyone that has lost a season, potentially lost a season, doesn't know when their next game is, the first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to like be upset, and I was in shock, like just surprised, shocked, like how could this happen? Like all the questions being asked. And then late last night and early this morning, I told myself, I was like, man, Monica, we need to change your perspective. And instead of fighting the fact that something was taken away from you, delve into it. And how can you accept that to be able to turn it around and start fresh and start new, instead of making it a battle within yourself, accepting the challenge, accepting the change, and being flexible to those changes.
Yeah, I think that's a really key concept. I was talking to Brian Bradley yesterday from Agoscu. We were talking about mobility work people can do at home. And, what really got me kind of thinking about all this is I'm working with one of our seniors that's going to be going to UCLA for golf. And, I look back in my senior year, and that's when 9/11 happened. And so it was a very like major change in sport during that time, and kind of sport brought us back together. And, remember the Yankees game right after 9/11?
Yes.
And like, we have that. And right now, like, there are no sports on TV. There isn't anything to be following. Like, and so we've got this unique perspective and unique world, especially with the new announcement from IOC, saying postpone the Olympics. And to see how hard you've worked and how hard the team's worked, it's an interesting time that we're in.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a super interesting time. I remember that, when 9/11 happened, and, it's just like the song said, I think the world stopped turning for a minute there in time. And we're experiencing that again with this pandemic, is that not only is the world stopped turning, but as a global citizen, someone from, that deals with people from all nationalities. As an American, we're the mixing pot of the world. We deal with every sort of nationality and country representative in the US. Being able to take a step back outside of ourselves, and look at it as acceptance, and what can we do to help move it forward? How can we help inspire that change? And it is a lot of acceptance, because I think in the end of the day, like I want to watch sports on TV. I want to be outside doing activities and with teammates and training and trying to prepare for something. But it doesn't mean that I'm not doing that. It just means that I'm taking a pause right now to fast forward later.
Can I ask you a couple of questions about your history? I think these are really important concepts for the young athletes that are sitting here, even pros that may have forgot some of the highlights of their life and why they're doing what they're doing. I love that you're a Lady Vol. Our family has season tickets. We have, we're part of the Vol Navy during football season, and so I love that you wore orange. And but looking at this and looking at your history, any athlete has memories, right? Especially.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is something that I wanted to ask you is, what was the defining moment in your senior year that was impactful, not just the sense in playing? What was the lesson you had your senior year that propelled you into your college career? Let's start there.
Okay, I have a couple defining moments, but my senior year, I went home. I went home before my senior year, and I was playing with the national team, and I was practicing, and I kind of was like the lower on the totem pole as a pitcher on the national team, kind of one of those question mark players. And after I went home, I was like, okay, if I'm going to seriously try to achieve something, I got to think about what can I do. And I had talked with some of my coaches and some of the people that I've worked with over the years, and we talked about, like, instead of trying to do more, eliminating some pitches to make other ones better. So what I mean by that is, going into my senior year, my freshman, sophomore, junior year, I threw a rise ball, a drop, a curve, an off speed, a changeup, and a screwball. So I had like 7 pitches. And when I went into my senior year, we were in the fall, and we had these conversations. Maybe I'm trying to do too much, trying to be too many things to too many people. And trying to throw every pitch great, and really all of them are just kind of average. So what if we took the concept of taking, like, my rise ball, which was my go-to and always has been, and using that and redefining it and molding it into being able to throw it in different levels. And so what I did is I took my rise ball and I became basically a 3-pitch pitcher, and it was extremely uncomfortable. And I remember sitting in my coach's office, Coach Karen Weekly's office, and telling her, well, I don't want to throw those pitches anymore. I just want to throw my rise ball. I want to throw my drop ball, and I'm going to throw my curve. Wow. Those were my 3 pitches. And she's like, why do you want to do this? And I told her, well, I think that I can make my rise ball that much better. And I can just use the drop ball to, place and things like that. And she kind of looked at me like I was crazy. She definitely didn't want to do it, but you got to give her credit, because she let me go into like the fall scrimmages against my teammates. And I struggled, I was giving up home runs and hits because I didn't have other pitches. And the next day, I'll never forget it, Marty McDaniel, my pitching coach, came out to me and he's like, Monica, we're going to back you. He said this. And he's like, I talked with Coach Weekly. We're going to back you. We're going to support you. But if you want to do this, you're going to be really good. But you have to learn how to throw your rise ball in different ways. So how can you take what you have and think about it and expand it into different ways and different avenues that you haven't thought about? Instead of just one way, swing and miss through the zone, can you throw it, can you throw it low? Can you throw it from ankles to knee? Can you place it in this location? Can you break from this point to that point? And when he started to talk to me about this, and he said, I'm going to start teaching you how to do these things, and it's going to be a little bit of work, but I know you can do it. And so that was a big step for me in my senior year, because I went to them incredibly uncomfortable and willing to make a big change, and willing to make even a little change on something that I was really good at already. And at first they questioned and they doubted it, and we had all these conversations, but more importantly, they gave me the tools to be successful. They found a way to help me achieve that end goal. They gave me the process to achieve only throwing 3 pitches, and that's why my strikeout numbers in my senior season completely changed the course of my career.
Yeah, I mean, you set some amazing records during that time, and a lot of that, even with it being physical, there's a lot of mental components to that I want people to understand. Is that you to make that type of a decision, it's tough as an athlete, number one.
Yes.
And you've got a lot of seniors or amateurs that are out there right now, and we have the softball, this professional league. You have the LA Commotion that's just joined. All these individuals who are at home that need to make some decisions to adapt, like you said earlier.
Right.
And so from remember being a senior, I know it's hard for us because we're getting older, right? No, I'm just kidding. But I think remember as a senior right now, or maybe a freshman, sophomore, or junior that's moving up in the ranks. Let's put it that way. What's some advice that we can give those ladies and gents in this moment in the high school setting? How to be like soft and be loving to yourself right now. Be patient. Like, what's the advice you give them in that environment, because maybe they don't have the support system that you want.
Yeah, I love what you said, is like being able to adapt and being adaptable and flexible in this time. We're out of our comfort zone, just like I was, going into my senior year. Just all of us right now are feeling that. We feel uncomfortable with the things going on around us. There's so many changes, right? Like every day there's something different on the news right now. And in some sense, it's overwhelming. But I think that we, as people, we need to accept that instead of fighting it and trying to stay in our routine, trying to keep doing the same things that we were doing before it happened. Like, accept the change that the world is making us do.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And then being adaptable in the things that will make you achieve whatever your goal is.
I love that. I think that it's like the serenity prayer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, I think, personally, vulnerably, like I'm used to having things my way. And, people say like, I'm going to go to this restaurant if I want to go. I'm going to be on this plane going somewhere, and now it's like, no, you have no control over this. And it's how we respond. And I really feel like in this time, if people can take, especially in the high school setting, because they're like, man, I'm missing prom. I'm missing, the date with my boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, it was my experience to go visit college. Like, I almost think it's a unique opportunity because there's so many people like yourself that are posting on Instagram, giving like amazing advice on workouts, on mindset. And, you can take so much opportunity to learn right now to come out way ahead. And I think there's some like diamonds in the rough right now that don't realize how good they are, that if they spend this time to introspectively look into themselves, they might get that scholarship. They might actually have that opportunity for them when they come out of this, just because of how well they handled this stressful situation.
Yeah, exactly. I think when there's so much stress on people, it makes you kind of rise to the top. And how do you handle that stress? Because in sports, it's very stressful, right? Like, there's a lot of stressful situations. I mean, how many times do is the pressure on you? But, I just want to tell people, like, you're not alone. If you're missing your high school prom, if you're missing, playing with your teammates, like, you're right now, the one thing that I love about this happening is that it's not just happening to you. Like, it's literally happening to everyone. And so you don't need to feel alone. You need to accept that it's happening to you and you're feeling that way. Like, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling upset, you're feeling sad, you're feeling glad there's more content for people to look at. But just know that you're not alone, and that it's okay to have those conversations with, whoever wants to talk to you about it, your mom, your dad, your family, your friends, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is, because those conversations are going to help be healing for you. And I always think sports are very healing too. So go work out and play catch or whatever.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think, transitioning this conversation from kind of that environment, obviously high school is amazing. Moving into college, because obviously working with a lot of collegiate women right now with On Base U and a lot of coaches, and seeing there's some amazing young women right now that are just doing some awesome things in softball. And
Yeah.
tell us about the experience that you had, a defining moment, like from your collegiate side at Tennessee. The defining moment, because again, I'm gonna bring this back to all this at the very end, but I think it's important for them to understand who you are as an athlete during that time. Tell us the defining moment of that.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of defining moments when I was in college. I was almost like ignorance is bliss. What you don't know doesn't hurt you. I was totally that athlete. Like, I went into Tennessee really excited, doe-eyed, and thrilled to be playing college softball, and new experience, big school, football games, all of those activities. But I came out very changed. I came out outgoing, being able to speak in front of crowds, knowing leadership skills, and being able to bring out the best in other people, like your teammates, and what it meant to be a good teammate, and also what working hard actually was, and all of those things. So there's so many good experiences from college. It's hard to pick out one, but I definitely think there was those times of failure where you weren't successful, that you struggled. Like, I can even remember defining moment for me training. Gosh, I hate to even say it, but we were at our 6 a.m. workout class, and our strength coach was making us do like these plate pushes on the ground. And it was a finisher in the workout. So in order to finish the workout, after we had to run this plate up and down, it must have been 50 yards down and back, or 40 yards down and back. And I could not push this plate. Like, I got to 5 feet from the finish line and would fall, and I would have to start over. I probably tried to push this plate like 30 times, and it would just not move on the path, and I just got stuck there over and over, and I wasn't able to get my body or my body weight behind this plate, or behind this little sled, to be able to push this 45-pound plate. And it was devastating. My team was cheering for me. They're like, "You got this, you can do it a little bit farther." And every time I missed it over and over and over. I probably did it 100 times at least, because I actually didn't finish it. And the coach, our strength coach at the time, he said, everyone's going to class, like, you got to be done. Mind you, this workout started at 6 a.m. Like, people are going to 8 a.m. class.
Yeah.
And I'm still struggling, sweat's pouring. I have chalk on my hands that's turned into clay. Like, and I'm like being super stubborn, like, yes, I can push this plate. And I really just could not do it. And he said, he looked at me, he's like, "Go to class." And he's like, "Come back at lunch." He's like, I said, right? Like, he looked at me straight in the eye. He's like, "You got to go to class, but you're going to come back at lunch, and come before you go to lunch." So brutal, right? Brutal.
Yeah.
This guy, man. But I think everyone has a horror story like this from college workouts at some point. And moral of the story, I go to my classes, and I'm thinking about this plate push, and I'm devastated that I have to go back. And now my team's not going to be there. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be me, the strength coach, which right now I'm hating every ounce of him. And I'm standing at the end of this hall, like, okay, I got to just push this plate. I pushed the plate one time down and back, and I don't know how I did it, but I literally came back I came back to push the plate, and I did on the first time. And it just showed me that sometimes it really does matter what's upstairs and what your mindset is going into things to be able to accomplish them.
Wow, that just gave me goosebumps. I mean, yeah. And I hope for the people that are listening to this and that will listen to this, even before you got into your story of pushing the plate, like all the things you listed, from being able to speak in public, to have communication skills, to have time management skills, like these are things that I want our athletes to understand right now in this moment, is that you've been given, like, to be a student athlete is not to be taken for granted. Like,
no,
many of our athletes, we just think because we're talented, we got to where we are. Like, I don't care if you have a low GPA and you got in because you were a super good athlete, or you're a super smart athlete and you got in because of both, or vice versa,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm.
it takes discipline, and the lessons that we've learned from, from being a kid all the way up until these moments define who we are. And so, like, these are lessons that, like you just said, there's 4 aspects to performance. You got mental, technical, tactical, equipment, and obviously the physical body. But this mental side, like, knowing, like, you've been taught how to have time management skills.
Mhm.
Time management right now in this quarantine, or this quote coronavirus era that we're in, is be able to use that skill set. And then, like you said, like, you went to lunch, you came back, and your teammates weren't there, but the epigenetic environment of them encouraging you while you were there, and then just the energy of all that, I mean, that builds on,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to come back, I think just having to sit with that for so long, for 2 hour, whatever, from 8 a.m. to about noon in class, and all my classes, I talk to my teammates, like, you got to do it. It's not that hard. They're telling me, you can do it. You got this, all of those things. And being able to somehow come back and push it right away is,
That's okay.
and being able to push it right away is just really difficult.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, this is what we're like. I don't want people to understand.
Yeah.
But so we went there, and then let's go to the next part. So obviously transitioning from the college side, making the national team, going into Beijing, like, obviously I have an amazing
Mhm.
freshman year as well. Talk about some of the trials and tribulations and some of the mental toughness or mental situations that you've had to go through because I mean, you've had a distinguished career, you've had ups and downs, and now coming into this quarantine life and this coronavirus, like, what are some things and lessons you've learned in our where we're at right now in our life? Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I think quarantine life right now, it's definitely, like you said, I like what you mentioned earlier about time management. I think that's a big thing right now for quarantine life, because it's so easy to get stuck doing something or trying to, you get distracted. Like, one minute I'm reading, the next minute I'm on my phone, the next minute I'm gone to the refrigerator 3 times, all of those sort of things. So time management has been a really big lesson for me in the quarantine life. And then just in my professional career, I think just the ability to continue changing and evolving as an athlete is really big, especially once you go post college, because your resources change, the people around you change, your knowledge of not only the sport, but who you are as an athlete, who you individually are as an athlete changes, and what it takes for you to be successful.
I think the one thing that I loved the other day is, you're continually posting and on your story, which I think is amazing, and these challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, one big thing you said earlier is that, when you're in high school, you get to college, you've got this team. When you're on a pro team, you've got the team. Well, we still have the team. That's what's
We
so
do.
about right now, right? Like, if this would have happened 20 years ago, or like, when you and I were in college, like, we wouldn't have had this. We would have next called each other and been like, beep, beep, like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? So,
Totally. We still have the team, like, we're still able to connect, which is
yeah.
huge for us. And I love that about the age that we're living in. Like, I can tag my teammates, we can challenge each other, and still see what they're doing. I can FaceTime them anytime and, hey, what are you doing? What are you gonna do for your workout today? All of those things. And it's so important because it helps us connect in that way. You're so right. Like, we still have a team.
Right? And look how alive you just became.
Yeah.
This is the biggest thing, and the reason I'm so grateful you even took time today to get on with me is I want everybody to realize, like, everyone still loves you. Like, no matter if you're in a home by yourself, if you're back with your family, you're not knowing how to handle the situations, take the lessons from being an athlete. Like, if you're frustrated with a teammate, you figure it out. Like, don't get me wrong, like, there's definitely some tension sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but you figure it out. And I think the other side of it too is, ask if you have a feeling of frustration, or you're angry, or you're disappointed, or you're depressed. Ask, like, what is it, and why do I have this feeling?
Yeah, exactly. Ask yourself those questions. It's okay. And it's okay to be frustrated and angry and upset. Like, it's okay. Like, it happens. Everyone feels that way at some point. But ask yourself, why is it happening? Why is it continuing to happening? And just know that, like, you're not alone in this. You're still, like you said, there's still a team out there for you. And just reach out to them, and they still love you. They still love you and want to be a part of your life.
So if you had to conclude, like, the 2020 coronavirus, I mean, obviously you're the one who brings it, but like, where's your mindset at right now? Today going forward, like obviously one day at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, what would be a motto you'd give right now to all these young kids, or amateurs or pros, like, in the world? What would be something you would tell them?
Well, I think one thing that runs through my mind a lot right now is something like stay steady, keep going. I know right now things look a little grim because maybe we're quarantining and there's the coronavirus is out there, but stay steady in the things that you're doing, the positive things that you're doing, because those are going to uplift you. Positivity right now is such a huge thing and so important in not only our general health, but our mental health and all of that, to be able to enjoy those moments and be grateful for your team and all of the activities that you can do once this thing is going to be, going to end, once coronavirus ends. But right now, I just think stay steady, stay positive. Those are two of the biggest important things right now.
I love that. And you mentioned reading. Like, what are some books that you would recommend to read right now? Like, you're reading, or that you are suggesting good?
Yeah, my book that I'm reading right now is Grit by Angela Duckworth. So I suggest that one. That is the one on my nightstand right now. I'm a one book at a time kind of girl.
Love it.
So,
I'm up around.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely recommend Grit is a really good one for people. Obviously, you have your sports ones as well that are always really good too. Yeah.
Any shows that you're watching or that you think people can get into, or that would be really good for them right
now? No, shows? Okay. What shows do I watch? I don't have any good ones. Sorry. I watch like Arrow. I watch like very like non.
But that's the cool thing too. It's like being vulnerable to show who we are in this moment.
Yeah, like
this is who I am.
Yeah, like my shows, I like to watch like action stuff. So I watch Arrow, Queen of the South. Yeah, I think those two are probably my top shows right now that I'm into. Ozark.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of obviously the Virtual Brain Trust, on base you, like, we love you guys. We're there for you, USA Softball, and just know that anything you need, reach out to me. Anyone who's going to watch this video, I mean, you can always DM either one of us. I know you're more than willing to reach out and get positivity and love.
Yeah, absolutely.
To challenge you all to go back and look at your season, that you were just in. Like, and I get goosebumps because I've really, this is one thing I think is helping us. Write down some of the positive things that happened. Like, write down some of the lessons that you've learned and put those on your wall and look at them every single day. And like, if you set goals as a team, still put those on the wall, because it's not over. It's just a pause, and it's a time for us to go back inside and just come out better on the way out.
Exactly. Press and pause right now, but we're ready to press play when the time comes.
Well, Monica, thank you. Good luck, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.